20. The Covenant and the Mediator. As we have seen, a covenant of grace is between a greater and a lesser party, sometimes between a great ruler and the people, but more normally and normatively, between God and man. God manifests his grace by entering into covenant with man and by giving man his law, the royal law, a man's privileged and blessed way of life and holiness. Precisely because such a covenant involves so great a difference between the two parties, a judge, ruler, umpire, arbitrator, or mediator between the two parties is required. The New Testament word for mediator is mesites, in the Greek, a go-between, literally. Another word is brabeno, brabeutes, rule, ruler, arbitrator, umpire. In Colossians chapter 3 verse 15, it is the peace of God which we are to allow to rule in our hearts. The word for rule is brabueto. Not only do we have an external and objective mediator in Jesus Christ, God the Son, but we have his Spirit mediating in our hearts, ruling and arbitrating between God and us. The Old Testament gives us a history of types of men who, as forerunners of Jesus Christ, mediated between God and man as, quote, stand-ins, end quote, for the coming one. In Exodus chapter 24, Moses mediates between God and Israel in the making of the covenant. It is Moses, therefore, who sprinkled the blood of the covenant over both the altar of God and the covenant people. Exodus chapter 24, verses 4 to 8. In Joshua chapter 24, Joshua performs a like function. He reminds the people of the law, the terms of the covenant, and has them renew their oath of faithfulness. In 2 Kings chapter 11, verses 13 to 20, we have Jehoiada the priest acting as the mediator and judge. Accordingly, Athaliah is ordered executed because Jehoiada, as priest-mediator, was also a judge. Precisely because priests are mediators, they are also judges. Hence, the Old Testament priests functioned also as judges. The word judges in Exodus chapter 21 verse 22 is palil, judge, from or related to palal, to judge, intercede or pray. The Bible sees judgment as an act of mediation, mediating the law of God to man. Thus, it is linked also to intercession and prayer. One can say that both priests and judges have a mediatorial calling. Judges today are mediators of humanism. In Exodus chapter 21 verse 6 and in chapter 22 verse 8 and 9, the word for judges is Elohim, or gods. Judges are in their persons representatives of and must faithfully mediate the righteousness of God. In Deuteronomy chapter 17 verses 8 to 13, the association is very clear. Judge here is the Hebrew shaphat, to judge, to sentence. The reference is to the judicial mediation of both Israel's judge and the priests. The Levites too had judicial functions. Deuteronomy chapter 17 verses 8 to 13. 2 Chronicles chapter 19 verses 8 to 11. Their task is mishpat, the verdict or judgment of God's law. We have one very remarkable and neglected text in which God declares himself to be the mediator and covenant man between man and the animals, and by implication, the inanimate earth. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground, and I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and will make them to lie down safely. Hosea chapter 2 verse 18. First, this text has reference to Adam's covenant breaking, to man's fall. Because of man's sin, the ground was cursed, and all nature now is at war with man. Genesis chapter 3, verses 14 to 19. Man is at war with himself, with other men, and faces as well a recalcitrant natural order. Second, when man makes peace with God in the person of the God-man mediator, Jesus Christ, and when, in faithfulness to the Lord, man establishes dominion in terms of God's law word, God will make a covenant of peace between man and the animal world, and the earth itself in all its aspects. This is a promise repeatedly made, as witness, "For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee." Job chapter 5, verse 23. "And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land." Leviticus chapter 26, verse 6. "He maketh wars to cease unto the ends of the earth. He breaketh the bow, and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariot in the fire." Psalm 46, verse 9. "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more." Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. "The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea." Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6 to 9. "The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord." Isaiah chapter 65, verse 25. "And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beast to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the woods." Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 25. "And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth." Zechariah chapter 9, verse 10. "For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God." Romans chapter 8, verses 19 to 21. Paul tells us in Romans chapter 8, verses 19 and 20, that the whole of creation waits for the day of that renewed covenant. It is amazing how these texts and more are spiritualized into nothing by men who declare that they, quote, "believe the Bible," end quote. It was God who, as mediator between man and the world, declared that man had broken that covenant peace, and therefore God, as judge and mediator, pronounced that peace to be broken and passed sentence on man and the tempter. Genesis chapter 3, verses 14 to 19. Third, God, as the mediator judge, had called upon the animal world and the weather to destroy Israel's crops. Hosea chapter 2, verses 8 to 12. At the same time, God used foreign powers to judge Israel. Hosea chapter 1, verses 4 to 5. Fourth, we are thus told graphically that harmony with God means harmony with man, between men and the animals, and between man and the inanimate world. When God the Son makes us to be at peace with God the Father, and we then walk in faithfulness to the covenant law, we have peace on all sides. Christ mediates between us and God the Father. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit mediate between us and the world we live in. Fifth, this means that covenant man cannot have any unmediated relationship to anything, including himself. It is the essence of original sin to be as God. Genesis chapter 3 verses 1 to 5, to seek an independent and law-making power over and relationship to everything. However, God and his covenant law word must stand over us and between us and everything. For a man or a woman, a husband and a wife, and parents and children to seek an independent, unmediated, ungoverned and unjudged relationship with one another or with anything is covenant breaking and is sin. The covenant is total. God's covenant, like God, takes priority over us and over our every relationship. The judge over our every relationship is therefore our covenant Lord and Mediator. To defile what belongs to the covenant Lord is to strike at him. It is a serious and capital offence, therefore, to defile my land, Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 7, chapter 16 verse 18, etc. Concerning sexual offences, God says, "Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants." Leviticus chapter 18, verses 24 and 25. The land will spew out all who defile it. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 28. Unless the whole of God's law is kept, God's earth will spew out its inhabitants. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 22. Deuteronomy chapter 28 is also emphatic about this same fact. In brief, we have no neutral, unmediated relationship with anything under the sun. All things are the Lord's, and they serve his purpose.